Welcome back to AT&T Cybersecurity video series. My name is Shira Rubinoff. I'm here with Rupesh Chokshi, Vice President of AT&T Cybersecurity. Rupesh, pleasure to have you back again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Certainly. So today's segment, we're going to talk about work from home, return to work, and the threat landscape. So Rupesh, how can businesses keep remote and hybrid workers protected regardless of where they are working?
So, we are in this space of hyper distributed enterprise, right? The workforce. And, you start to think about, lots of different kind of concepts around, is the person just working from home? Are they going to be a little bit more mobile when it comes to, working from anywhere, to working, some days in a physical office or a factory plant or a hospital, to some days, at home, etc. So we're starting to suddenly see, all of these different use cases, right? And a lot of it is tied back to safety and productivity, right? Because you want to make sure that the individuals, the human capital is safe. And as a corporation, you need to make sure that you're doing everything from a technology perspective to make it very productive. So I think about it every day and I say, okay, what can we do, right? Can we identify methods and procedures and processes that security professionals can do? It goes back to a comment that you made earlier, which was around, cyber hygiene, right? In terms of how does one think about it every day in terms of educating the people that play a role into this thing. So, being able to quickly adapt to this kind of changing business conditions, protecting the digital connections, protecting the digital assets. The other thing that I've learned is that data is the most valuable currency right now.
Correct.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
It is the most valuable currency. So we have to think about how best to protect that. And again, going back to the hyper distributed enterprise, it
Certainly.
is front and center.
Certainly. And I'll even touch upon a point where other discussions with AT&T that when we talk about the human piece, we're talking about cyber hygiene, but the human piece, people typically looked at the human as the weakest link. But on the flip side, not only are you making them not the weakest link, you're making them part of the solution, be part of the army of protection. So utilizing that cyber culture within the organizations, which has been stressed a lot within the company. So I'm very impressed on how that is being taken in the forefront. So what's the next step for cybersecurity as we return to work with these blended workforces? What does the return to work look like? Like, what is the future of work? Really, that's what it boils down to.
Right. So I think, the future of work is going to continue to be a little bit of a hybrid, right? Where we're going to start to kind of systematically, look for the normalcy, right? Which is, if I was waking up in the morning, going to work, grabbing a coffee on my way, we want that. We as human beings, we are social. We want that collaboration. We want that interaction. So from a technology, security, and a networking perspective, it's all about resiliency. It's all about, business continuity. It's all about crisis response, right? So can I take, what I have in the network, what I have learned about the users, what I've learned about their patterns, their behaviors, and can I start to put it all together and protect, right? Going back to some of the frameworks that we talked about in terms of user, devices, network, applications, data, right? We think about all of that and protecting it. I think the CISOs and the security leaders, I think their work is cut out, right? It's not
Oh,
about,
yes.
again, it's not about let me figure it out when I can. It's about now you are part of making your
Correct.
company be normal again, right?
Yes. The active role of the business continuity.
Right, right. So I think that's going to be front and center. It's going to be hand in hand, right? You're working with, all the people that are thinking about, how do I get back to productivity? How do I do it safely? And the security professionals are going to play a very important role in making that happen.
I agree with that. I think also there's probably a lot of nervousness around that. So the security professionals are going to have to be more of the leaders as well with it can be done and it will be done. So very much agree on your points. So what does the threat landscape look like right now and where are those attacks coming from And what kind of attacks are most prevalent? Mouthful here.
I often get this question asked, and I think, some of it, just as you read in the news and you hear about the stories, right? It is,
Yes.
in many cases, it is state sponsored.
Mm.
In many cases, it is a very organized. It's not one hacker; it's hundreds of them kind of working together, and how they go about it, where they go make these attacks is very systematic, right? And the funny thing is that I was, talking with somebody and said, I hear a lot about ransomware, and what if you pay the ransom? How can you trust a bad person?
Right.
But apparently it's an industry, right? So it's gotten to that level of precision. So I think the threat landscape is evolving very, very rapidly. I think there are things happening that we don't know. There are things, this is like it's ongoing, right? You can never rest. This
No.
is going to continue. And the numbers that I hear about trillions of dollars worth of cybercrime cost, right? That kind of value destruction that is happening is insane. We've seen significant uptick in DDoS attacks. We've seen customers come to us and say, hey, I really need to really get going on all the pen testing and the risk assessment and the compliance capabilities, etc. So again, to answer the question simply, I think it's expanded and it's going to exponentially grow because, again, going back to data as the foundation of the digital economy.
Correct. And as you were talking about before, like data in motion, I think we have to start thinking about security in motion. And I think that's what you've been alluding to this whole time. So thank you so much for your share and your insight. And I look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Great, great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you having me.
Thank you very much, Rupesh. Pleasure.